And Grace.
Okay, no alternates to seat. Can we, someone move to approve the minutes from last month?
So moved. Jean?
Is there a second?
Second, I'll second them. Crystal Adams.
Hey, any discussion?
No.
Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? No. No public to participate. Treasurer's report.
Yeah. Well, we do have $366.57 left in the budget with our special $2,193.22. But as Lee is aware, as he's spoken with Karen about it, the town is not giving us the $1,000 for the membership with ECCD. They're saying it'll have to come out of our special, and it's like, that's not going to work.
Right. And we did it to get the town was more interested than us.
Yeah.
So it's done.
Morris here.
Oh, there. Okay, good.
Okay, I have to leave. So Lee, I'm going to make you the host.
Okay, thanks.
Please give me privileges to share.
I think you can. I don't think I have to give you any privilege to do
Okay,
that.
some people have it turned off. So thank you.
If you want to test it before I go for it.
Oh, Jim's here too.
Do you see that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we see it.
Okay, awesome.
Okay, good.
Sharing now.
Okay. Have a good meeting.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Enjoy your holiday.
Thank you.
Okay, so yeah, the town can't afford the $1,000 for ECCD. They suggested we use it out of our special funds, and I reminded them that it really wasn't us who wanted to join, the town wanted to join, and that we can't afford it. So,
As I recall, Mike Alberts was the one that suggested we put it into our budget so it didn't stand out as a line item on
Right.
the general budget.
Yep.
And yeah, I've already I noticed that. Of that $300 and something left, I know that Jason may need some funds for the Memorial Garden, Pollinator Memorial Garden. He's been putting some time into it, but he is away until tomorrow. At least that's the response I got to the email I sent out. So I don't know how much money he needs, but maybe if we vote that he can have up to a certain amount of it. We had
Well,
previously
just a
said
question of getting me the receipts. He spent it. We told him he could spend it. We don't need to go with an amount. It's whatever I have left that we can, forward to him if he gives me receipts for it.
right. I don't know if he spent anything yet. He's been trying to fit it in between everything else that he's doing. He's got an elderly parent and kids and work, so I don't know what he has intended. I know that we told him he could purchase herbicides and stuff like that if we needed it, but I can't speak for how much that would cost, of which ones he'd be willing to use, if any, or if we wanted to hire someone to do brush hogging at the site. But
it looked pretty good when I drove by it. I think he's done a bunch.
awesome. Yeah, I've got some plants to go in there when he's ready for them.
Yeah, look pretty good. Any other questions for treasurer? Okay, chairperson's report. I already told you about ECCD.
Do you have to okay
Hmm?
You have to okay the treasurer's report?
I have to okay the treasurer's report?
Yes, that's standard.
Yeah,
We've
you
done it
vote
before.
on it.
We've never voted on the treasurer's report.
Yeah,
never
we did.
No, never.
Okay, never mind. Forget it.
No,
I'm
I've
sorry
run
I
the
said it.
meeting. I've run
Forget
the
it.
meeting for
Don't worry
years.
about it.
I've never okayed a treasurer.
No.
report. Just ask for questions. Okay, chairperson, you heard about ECCD, communications. I got something from Chandler. God, where is it? June 16th to 22nd is Pollinator Pathway Week. And the Connecticut Department of Transportation sent out a letter that they're helping to support the initiative. So, note that. And then Maura, we got stuff from Maura on behest of her organization. What are you doing? The NatChog or the
Natural Healthy Watershed
yeah?
Plan.
So they're looking for people to serve on the board. Is that correct?
No, are you talking about the email I just sent today or?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Well, no,
That's
we have the board selected.
Okay.
And it's an advisory board, and so there is the rest of the commission. So anybody's welcome to come, but we're into the third meeting. So I sort of felt like whoever was interested is sort of there, and we're moving along well. I mean, I don't know if you wanted me to update you on this now, or is that? I thought I'd do it.
Yeah, it's not a light item on old business. It's you sent me the communication, but yeah, just go over the communication, and then if you want, we can make it a monthly line item on old business.
I mean, yeah. So I've talked about the Natchog Healthy Watershed Advisory Board that has just newly started up, and that was based off of the Healthy Natchog Watershed Plan that Jean spearheaded when she was with ECCD. And so we now are looking to implement those things that are in the plan. And so we're looking to get every town to sign an MOU, which is there's 8 towns in the watershed. So of course, part of that watershed is in Woodstock. So we're making progress, which is really good news. And that fact that we had people step up to be chair and vice chair and secretary is really good news to me. I mean, all of us, but yeah, so that really helps us to then move forward with things in the plan, like creating work groups to work on keeping the Natchog watershed healthy. And so that includes, doing best management practices in forestry and agriculture and stormwater runoff and all kinds of ways to do that. And so figuring out which work groups to work on those items will be happening in the next meeting in July. And everyone is invited to come to the meetings and be a part if they want. It's basically the third Tuesday of every month. We're meeting in Mansfield at the town hall from starting at 1:30. So anyway, that's kind of the gist of it all. And Lee, you're on the Jean had the Natchog watershed group prior to this that was working on the plan, and so you were on that list, I think, from before. And so that's why you're included. I know that Crystal did reach out to me sort of on behalf of Chandler. So he did actually come. He was the only selectman to come to the first meeting, which was good, I think. So he could find out about it. And so it's just a matter of getting us, to the point of signing the MOUs, which can take time. I know they need to kind of talk to other selectmen or whatever needs to happen. So I offered to help with that process. So yeah, I can just update everybody at our meetings when we make progress, and if there's events that people can attend, because there will be like a field day event, a big event, and so, yeah.
So you sent a communication today about a job that's a job that
Yeah,
is
well,
this,
it's a stipend for another work, another grant that ECCD received. I am not leading it, but my coworker Megan is, and so it's to help share resources. It's kind of a regional watershed assisting group. Sorry, I don't remember the exact name of it, but it is to help all the watersheds that ECCD groups that ECCD runs, which are a number of them because we support 36 towns in Eastern Connecticut. So yeah, so this is to help us all to maybe share resources, share experiences, and so to try to get people to commit to coming to meetings and you know, attending, planning. There's going to be workshops and all kinds of events happening. So that's just a little small description that I gave because there is a stipend that she was able to get on this grant. So the person needs to be representing the Natchog watershed group.
right? So if anyone would be interested in a paid position for 5 hours of work per month for 15 months, the total stipend's $3,602. So
It's more than that. It's more than meetings, but it's basically being really involved with planning. But you know, someone who
Yeah.
can really commit to that time, but is really involved too with the Natchog
Yeah.
watershed group.
right,
Is there
Yeah.
any effort, may I ask you a question? Lee, may I ask you a
Yeah,
question?
yeah.
Is there any effort to get a Little River watershed group reestablished or reinvigorated?
You mean the Conservation Consortium?
No, I'm talking, I'm asking Maura from.
Oh, I thought you were asking me. I'm sorry.
I asked you permission, but
Go ahead, Maura.
the Little River watershed group, is there any effort to get that up and running again?
Not that I know of at this time.
Well, I did see that it became a National Water Quality Initiative watershed again, and RCS has put that up on their website. So congratulations to have that completed.
Yeah.
But is there any focus on Little River is the question, I guess, or is that just?
Well, no, I think that, as you know, as we have time for somebody to be able to do the agriculture, reach out, you know, to agricultural, the recommendation of the plan, then we will work on that. So it's just a matter of figuring out who can do that and when, and we have a lot of projects happening right now, but I don't think it's forgotten. It's just, yes, with all the other grants going on, it hasn't been a priority.
Okay, any other communications anyone is?
No, I didn't have any.
Okay, so moving on to old business. Jean, anything DRC wise?
No, not officially. I did have someone reach out to me about clearing that they did at the former Senexit house. They cleared the land going down to Roseland Lake, and wetlands said they had to fix it. And so it was recommended they talk to me, and I recommended they talk to the district. I don't know if they did or not, but I gave them some very basic follow-up. So it's not really development review per se, but I did say you need to replant it. Get them information.
Where is the Senexit house?
It's on the east shore of Roseland Lake. It was a retreat center, and it was on the market. It's kind of if you go up Senexit Road, there's Laurel Drive and that whole Roseland Heights neighborhood, and just after that, there's this retreat center, and the slope going down to the lake had been wooded, and when the people hired someone to manage the property, or I don't know who actually is owner of the new property. It's being put in as a halfway house or something for people who are recovering from alcoholism, was the rumor I heard. I don't know how factual that is. But when they cleared the land, they cleared the land, and Wetland said they had to fix it. So my good old friend Bet said, "Hey, call Gene." And I said, "Here's some, basic information, but call the district because they might have funding to do a better plan for you than that." So,
I will say I have not heard anything myself. So,
well, I gave them Dan's contact information.
okay.
Okay, Crystal's not here for open space. P and Z, there was nothing for us. Grace Ag Commission,
No, they were questioning the open space and Wyndham Land Trust, but they're involved with that at this point. The only thing, well, I'll bring it up now just because I can. Celebrating Ag is on September 20th. And obviously they sent me the form. I filled it out and said, yes, we would be there. And what I want everybody to do at this point is kind of think about what we want to put on the display board, that we have, and come up with, hopefully by next meeting, some ideas as to what we should be pressing forward with.
okay. Jim, anything on stewardship?
Let me tune in here. No, sorry, I'm not going to make any excuses. I've just been too lazy.
It's okay.
So I don't have anything yet.
Hey,
No.
Gene, anything pollinator pathway?
Well, just that Jason has gotten approval from the Master Gardener program to do his 30 hours of community service, doing maintenance on the Memorial Pollinator Garden. And he's been sending his hours to me. So he's put in just about 10 hours at this point, and he is going to put in some more plants, and I got some for him when I went to the garden club. We have a plant exchange, so I picked up a bunch of plants for free that are nice pollinator plants to put in there, and that's the update. I haven't done any specific outreach since the May plant sale with the garden club.
Okay, Crystal's not here for Stamford, Connecticut, so Gene, take it away for POCD.
Okay, I sent out a draft of what I sent to the POCD committee, and I hope everybody had a chance to look at it. I spent a lot of hours on it, and I may have left out things, but for your viewing pleasure, I will share the document.
Can't read it.
So I did a little background on the Plan of Open Space and Conservation, the history, what are the main recommendations. I don't remember what year we hired a planner, but we did. We have worked on some regional efforts, including the greenways. We have a signed MOU for the Natchog Healthy Watershed Protection Plan because Jade Swan signed one, but I guess it's been rewritten, so we have to work on that again. And I don't know if there's other efforts to coordinate regionally to get continued funding for rural towns that can't get money from other sources. There was an effort at that time to, they created, what do they call it? The Working Lands Alliance was created at that time, which now focuses on agriculture. But at the time, it was okay. We have agriculture communities. They can't pull in a lot of tax money. You know, we want to keep these areas rural. There's a lot of things that rural lands offer to the state, but they don't bring in tax dollars to the towns that have them. So there was a effort at that time to focus on unifying as rural towns across the state, not just in eastern Connecticut, but western Connecticut as well. And one of the spearheads of that was Jefferson Davis, who, of course, resigned in shame. So that kind of fell by the wayside. And I don't know if there's any such efforts again or still, but that's what we intended at that time. So I kind of redid the natural resource inventory because that's what we need to have is if we're going to do any kind of pre-development checklist kind of thing, it's going to be checked against our conservation targets. And this is a list of things that the state says has to be in the town's POCD. And these are the conservation targets the state wants us to focus on. I added some locally important ones as well. Of course, we don't have hurricane surge inundation areas in Woodstock yet. Anyway, so I talked about the pre-development review checklist, and it needs to be updated. Then I started on soils based on data and what we need to fix on the town's GIS, because that's really annoying to me that they don't have correct soil data up there. They don't have the right wetland soil up there. And wetlands already sent something in with wetlands, so I didn't spend a lot of time on this because I didn't want to go over what they said. But this is a wetlands map, Woodstock, showing how wetlands are around town and interconnected with our waterways and such. And I just put that in right as a placeholder. We might have to fill that in. I could show you what wetlands wrote. And this is the source of my data. Agricultural soils, I talked about how important they are and how our farms are concentrated there. I'm really happy that the town finally has the locally important farm soils on the map. This is actually the town's GIS system, so we can use that while doing our new development review. And I talked about how these soils were created, basically using language from the USDA. We want to continue to use this data for prioritizing agricultural soil conservation, continue to educate farmland owners about saving their farm soils, and continue to support farm tax abatements. And I believe a couple new ones were passed recently at the state level, which the town hasn't done yet because it hasn't had time. Soil drainage class is not one that was required, but I like this one because we are reliant on septic systems. So that's another map. And this one is from the Eco Map Viewer. This is not on our town website, so I want it on the town GIS because I want to be able to use our parcel map with it. But these are areas where it's got poor drainage that we shouldn't be developing. They should be, they're all the wetlands, obviously, and areas where it's got low potential, and then places where it's better. And in terms of planning for there's a lot of talk in the POCD where we have to have affordable housing options in town, thinking about, where are these things best suited to be? And you wouldn't want to put an apartment or condominium complex on land with low potential for absorbing that waste. So I added to the town map, future development planned, and again, backing up the need for a reserve area for septic systems, which planning and zoning currently does. again, consulting the map when you're planning for multifamily housing. And then this is one that nobody likes to talk about, but we have areas in town in the lake tax districts where residents are clustered on small lots. And we really need to start investigating opportunities for alternative waste treatment systems in case all those systems went into failure. So I put that in there.
That would be extending the sewage there, the town
You
sewage?
can't. It would be prohibitively expensive
Hmm.
because the nearest sewer system to Bungay is Putnam. And you'd have to have pumping stations and all kinds of stuff. It would be prohibitively expensive. But there are other types of waste systems, like community systems, which means you put in a leaching system, or that it has to have a leaching system because we can't discharge into the water. But in order to do that, you have to have land,
Yeah,
have all that leaching built. And right now, nobody's even talking about it because it's something they just don't want to talk about. But it is important to talk about it.
well, that would also have to, I mean, if it's Bungay, somehow the Bungay, homeless association would have to,
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
but nobody wants
Oh.
to talk about it. They have their head in the sand. So I'm
Okay.
gonna bring it up. That we
Gotcha.
need to be thinking
Oh.
as a town, because if all those houses didn't have working septic systems, if the lake degraded, there would not have the same assessed value. Our tax base would decline. This is something for everybody to be concerned about.
Gotcha.
Our water resources, that because we have a lot of headwater streams, they're more easily vulnerable to disturbance from land use changes. And so I talked a little bit about that. This again, we do not have a hydrography layer on the town GIS. So I would like to see that, including the layer that has the intermittent streams on it. So that's a recommendation. So upgrade the GIS. Assure there's no net increase in stormwater runoff from developed land using green infrastructure will impact development strategies. Education and outreach to commercial businesses and the general public to decrease stormwater from previously developed land, and that could be a responsibility of the Conservation Commission. Riparian buffers. Lee and Jason came back from that workshop talking about riparian buffers, and they're critically important that we maintain these buffers. And there's a whole recommendation in the new stormwater quality manual that is all about riparian buffers, and I put that in the appendix. And look for opportunities to restore fish migration routes when upsizing culverts, because in some places in town, the culverts were undersized. They created plunge pools on the opposite side, and there's a big drop off so that fish can't re-enter parts of the stream if they ever get impacted by drought. So anyway, this is my data on where I got that information. Public drinking water supply watershed areas. Obviously, about 2/3 of Woodstock is in that description. And all these areas are protected under section 19-13-B32, sanitation of watersheds. I put that whole thing in appendix B for the restrictions that we have to abide by in a watershed, drinking water watershed. I also mentioned that there are 50 accounts in Southeast Woodstock that get their drinking water from the town of Putnam. And that Putnam has no intention to expand that beyond that into Woodstock. And this map here is actually a map layer for groundwater quality, but I'm smart enough to know that it's done this way. And if you look down here, it stops here. And that's actually the drinking water watershed outlines. And it's so, and I've confirmed that by talking to the GIS people at the state. They said, oh, you're pretty observant. Yes, I am. So this is Natchog, this is Little River, and up here is what goes into Southbridge. I want to see that one on our town GIS as well. I want to see that PZC and wetlands regulations are compliant with section 19-13B32. Outreach to the general public on etiquette and best management practice living in a drinking water watershed. That includes like things like don't put your chicken coop next to a river or wetland, you know, because runoff. And then again, update the town GIS layer. Aquifer protection areas, I put a bunch of maps in here because there's different ways to get information, and this is where I got it from, and I want to show people. I don't intend all these things to be in there, just document where I got my information. We don't have a designated aquifer protection area. That is a specific definition for wells that serve over 1,000 people or something. But we do have stratified drift deposits, and that this again is from Connecticut Eco, showing where our stratified drift deposits are. These are potential wells areas. They could support drinking water supplies. They have higher volume than breadwalk wells. And the deepest one is 50 to 100 feet deep. And I have a map to show where I got that information from. Roll. Come on. So this is that outline again for the aquifer recharge area that Rob Hust was recommending. And I really think the one that's trying to get that whole thing on here, the one that's outlined in red is what we really need to be thinking about. You know, having an overlay that we should kind of follow the aquifer protection area recommendations of things that, you know, regulated activities that don't belong there. It's not over in Southwest Woodstock, just this part here. And here's my source of how I got the 50 to 100 feet. Here's down here in South Woodstock, below Roseland Lake. They believe the stratified drift is that deep, which is able to supply, you know, drinking water wells for large numbers of people. Water quality map, impaired water. This again is from Connecticut Eco Map. They really have the wrong layer on our town GIS. It's updated every 2 years, and I'm hoping that we can get this layer up there that gets updated, you know, connect them to Connecticut Eco so that we can have current data. And I also have inside information that if you look over here in Southwest Woodstock, we have Bungie Brook up to Witches Woods that was not meeting water quality classifications. That's the 22 report that came out. 24 report isn't out yet. Since then, I submitted data that shows that this stretch of the river is fine. It's where Safford Brook comes in that Bungie Brook goes sour because of farm runoff from coming in from Safford Brook. So the map's going to be changed, and I mentioned that here. So I would like to see current data available in our well, this is also talks about Little River being NAQUI, National Water Quality Initiative Watershed. Recommendations, GIS needs to have current data. Water quality standards where they have been met, we should make efforts not to avoid degradation of those resources, or water quality is not meeting standards, voluntarily focus on remediation of those issues, cooperating with regional partners, and I recommend that we adopt and consult with the Muddy Brook and Little River Water Quality Improvement Plan, Rosen Lake Management Plan, Little River Watershed-Based Plan, Mashpaka Brook Watershed-Based Plan, Natchog Healthy Watershed Protection Plan. Did I leave any out, Maura?
I don't think so.
Okay. These watershed-based plans were developed by the Eastern Connecticut Conservation District, by detailed historical background on water quality and specific recommendations for remediation where needed or protective strategies where water quality meets standards. And those are all my links to those documents. I put in to have representation on the Little River Healthy Water Collaborative, participate in the Natchog Healthy Watershed Advisory Board. That's based on water quality stuff. Critical habitats. There are 25 critical habitats that have been identified, mapped in Connecticut. Woodstock has 2, the acidic Atlantic white cedar swamps, which we have between Fulbridge Road and 198. And that's the definition of what that is. Floodplain forest, again, definition from Connecticut Eco Resource Guide. So believe it or not, our Woodtown GIS shows where those things are. And the acidic Atlantic white cedar swamp is labeled, but they didn't put anything in the forested floodplain in the key about what that is. They just have a color denoting it is something. So here's the map on the town GIS. This is the cedar swamp, and this is the forested floodplain down in southeast Woodstock. So we need to fix the GIS. And working with the Town Open Space Land Acquisition Commission, or whatever the current name is, Woodstock Conservation Regional Land Trust Partners should prioritize conservation of these rare habitat types. We should work with forest landowners to encourage development of forest management plan that will sustain land cover in the future. Here's the National Diversity Database. Is updated periodically. This is actually the town website showing it. This map changes every 6 months. So I make sure that we're linked to the most current one, that we can use it for making recommendations. And whenever development is proposed in one of the hatched areas, that of course they contact DEEP to learn how to avoid or minimize impacts. This one's not included as a priority health. This one, when they came up with that list of special habitats, cold water habitat was not one that was discussed, but we have cold water habitat using protocols developed by DEP in town. So I talked about how that was defined, and brook trout and slimy sculpin are the 2 things that are the fish that are indicator species of that. This is from the DEEP website. This is not on the eco map, but the areas in blue are documented cold water habitat areas. We do have native brook trout in town, and they're very sensitive to temperature change. So if we're working in a cold water habitat area, we should be the biggest threat is, of course, loss of tree canopy, dams, reduced stormwater infiltration, increased stormwater runoff, and climate change. So we want to maintain or restore vegetated buffers, assess and remove relic dams because they warm the water temperature at the surface and flow over the top. Use low impact development green infrastructure, managing stormwater on site, and look for opportunities to intercept and infiltrate stormwater in previously developed land. Core forest areas, here's the definition of what that is. This is actually, the map is from 2015, but this is what they have on the state policy plans for plans of conservation and development. So this shows Woodstock. We have core forest area, small, medium, and large. This is definition of what small, medium, and large core forest areas are. The benefits of them and our recommendations, maintain PA 490, work with regional partners to educate forest landowners, conservation easements, outreach about invasive species and pests. Greenways, we talked about, that was something that was in our first plan that we should do that. We did it. This is the Greenways map from the Connecticut Greenways Council, and it's not complete. It shows Little River, but it's Little River and Muddy Brook and Wilson Lake. And over here, it's the Natchog River system. So they're only showing the Still River, but it's also Bungie Brook. So those maps need to be they need to be fixed. But why do we want greenways? This is the definition of what it says on their site, why this was established as a greenway, and the Natchog River system, why it was created as a greenway. Here's this portal to the greenway page. Recommendation, get a GIS layer that adequately displays where our greenways are, and where possible, plan a 300-foot wide riparian buffer corridors of protected open space, so we can use them as wildlife corridors. Pollinator pathway, again, that's not on the state list, but I added it because it's important locally. Why is it important locally? What are we trying to do? And my recommendations continue to prevent education and outreach, encourage voluntary participation, install native plant gardens on public spaces, inspiration to the other people. And then aesthetic and cultural resources, I put scenic roads, because we have that in our original plan. We have scenic roads in this town GIS, but it only includes 169. Obviously, there's 14 other roads that aren't there. Maura, you probably have something to say about this. I want to, oh, that's that one. Get the GIS layer updated. And then I put a study to evaluate existing stormwater runoff controls and best management practices for paved road is needed to plan for improvements or possibly need this paved roadways if needed. That's what I put in, but we can change the wording on that. Existing open space. I don't know how many of you know that Delia Fay is no longer the town planner.
We said that last meeting.
Okay, so she's no longer the town planner. I know she was working on the open space list. This is the most complete map that I know of, and it's a couple of years old. It's missing pieces as I'm looking at it. But anyway, we need because we always want to build on blocks of open space. We need a completed open space map. So I just put down what's missing, and I know there's the town land at Senexit Village. Maple Crest Farm is now in a PDR easement. Wyndham Land Trust has a couple more pieces in the Bull Hill Preserve. New Roxbury Land Trust merged with Wyndham Land Trust, so that's got to get changed in the denotation. And then there's two small farmland easements. Paul Wilbur and Florence put 47.5 acres in an easement of their farmland on the Still River in southwest Woodstock, and the Chattel Farm, 13.3 acres in northeastern Woodstock. I think it's on Prospect Street, or is not on there. I put in recreation resources. I haven't seen anything from the recreation department. I think they're mostly focused on active recreation, not passive recreation. So I thought I'd put in opportunities for recreation in terms of passive opportunities. So the 50-acre woods, the Wabaquasit Trail, which is the one that's off the town beach property. There's a Roseland Park Loop, a Bull Hill Preserve, which is mostly in Thompson, but you access it from Woodstock. There's a trail at the Linda Rappaport Memorial Preserve, and Cabbage Hill Preserve has opportunities to hike and, just following the farm roads. And there's trails at Crystal Pond Park. If there are other trails,
What about the Arboretum?
Not really a trail.
Is it?
No,
Oh,
it's just like
yeah,
a
well,
little.
we could put that in as
I've walked it. It's a decent walk.
yeah. I'll put Woodstock Arboretum.
Can we make a recommendation that we should be expanding and getting more trails for people to, we have very few trails compared to other towns. And I wondered if the Wyndham Land Trust new property is, I assume they're gonna have trails, which will be nice, but I've always felt like that was lacking in our town.
What do you mean the Wyndham Land Trust new property?
The one over at, near me,
Oh, the one that they
Quarry.
got from New Roxbury?
no, from us, Quarry Road, maybe? Is that the name of the road? The one that had to go to for a meeting, for the public meeting and all.
There's a property near, the one that I know of near you is like right on the Union border. And
I don't
yeah,
mean
it's
like
Sherman
right down
Road.
the street, but like more this side of town. Isn't it over near Quarry Road? It was the guy that, Yeah, yeah.
That, yeah. Nightingale Forest in Pomfret has a lot of trails on it, but that's in Pomfret. So, you're talking about, yeah, the Perrin Road property. Okay. And I said, what are you talking about? Okay, now I'm hearing you. Yeah, they will likely, in time, expand that because you can get there from Cabbage Hill.
yeah, that's a nice connection, and I think we need more trails. There's very few, decent trails in the woods and things. There's some smaller, shorter ones, but
Well, there's
I don't
also-
know.
There's the forest roads in Nipmuc Forest. I mean, there are a lot of people who hike over at Nipmuc, but they don't have like a trail, marked trails. But if you go on their website for their forest management plans, it shows where all the logging roads are, and you can hike on them. But they don't call them trails.
Right, but wasn't there a thing, weren't we supposed to be working towards getting a certain amount of trails, or is that, I'm thinking open space, but I don't know, that's my
We've always said,
suggestion.
I agree that I don't think I put any recommendations in this section. I just put data.
Yeah, it's always been, it's been our, it's the last POCD. We had trails as a goal.
How's that? You do this. So we need more opportunities for trails. Some of our trails are for hiking only. And I know Crystal is very fond of using her mountain bike on a lot of the trails. And I think more people do mountain biking that we hadn't considered. It was mountain biking was never in our forethought back in 2001. Should we, I mean, if we start saying about mountain biking, we have to start thinking about people who want ATVs, and there are people who do want public trails for ATVs.
Well, we want passive recreation. That's what's gonna help conservation, not ATVs, but,
Yeah.
and they cause a lot of erosion. And that's where you need to be careful, as you know, with
Yep.
horse trails and mountain bike trails, they can get heavily eroded. So I would be careful with, it has to be done properly.
All right, so I
And-
have hiking, biking trail areas. Should they take biking out of here?
Where?
Under our recreation resources. Can you see your screen?
I'd say include hiking, biking, and horse trails.
Yeah, but you can't combine,
It's recreation resources.
yeah, but it's really difficult to combine,
It's not, it doesn't necessarily mean you're overlapping them, but you're giving them all equal importance.
Well, I think Wabaquasit, when I went on their website to get information on how long the trail was, it said hiking only, no bikes. 50 Acre Woods, I don't know if we had any specific things about bikes. Do you recall, Grace?
Yeah, the only thing specific is no hunting. But there is no mention one way or the other about
Okay.
bikes.
Roseland Park Loop, which is a different loop than it was, and I still haven't been there since they did it. Bull Hill. Linda Rappaport.
yeah, mountain biking and hiking should not be the same trails, because people on mountain bikes fly, and there's no way there's gonna be accidents if,
Right, but it's not, we're not saying hiking.
And mountain
no, I know,
biking.
They're
I'm
not-
just,
they're
I'm
not
just
over-
pointing that out. I'm
Yeah.
just saying it might be worth pointing out as well. I don't know. I assume people know that, but maybe they
Well,
don't. I don't know.
so just change the title from hiking and or biking.
Well, but to play devil's advocate, Crystal and her friends use the 50 Acre Woods for biking.
Oh, yeah. All
So-
the time.
Not only did they use it for biking, but they're the ones that came out to fix it when it was needing repair.
Right, when we were with us, the hikers, showing them where to clear. But
So
yeah,
if
there's
it
hikers
was,
on the trails and there's bikers.
yeah, I mean, that's like, if it's not a trail that's used a lot, but I just think that it's worth, making sure that you don't start to see, because that's kind of a newer thing, I think, that they've been doing that.
Yeah, but a lot of, like the airline trail, there's plenty of bikers and hikers.
I know, and I do that because it's a multi-use
Yeah.
trail that's wide enough.
Yeah.
And some of these trails are very narrow and they're windy and they go up and down hills. And if someone came flying through on a bike, you
Right,
know what
but-
I mean? And it was a kid, it'd be all over.
Right, but bikers, that's.
Well, no, that's
I
what
don't
most,
know.
that's what most towns do. They separate. They don't have, they've actually been creating more mountain bike. I'm not against, I'm fine, but they're usually separate and
Yeah.
anywhere I've been.
Yeah, the places I've gone there, it's overlapped.
Yeah.
Well, I know that
Yeah.
the Cabbage Hill Preserve, owned by the Wyndham Land Trust, does not only allow horseback riding, but they hold events for fundraising events for horseback riding that does fundraising for the Wyndham Land Trust. So
Yeah, no, I mean, that's, it's not, I don't know, I'm just saying it needs to be, hopefully nothing safety wise has to happen for people to realize. I don't think that they're congruent.
Okay.
Well, I know that if I went to the Pomfret, what do they call it? The woods in Pomfret where they put on all those mountain biking trails, that it is insane. How they cut down hills and I just looked at it and said, this is an erosion problem waiting to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and when I wrote my piece on the airline trail watershed protection pieces, I kind of would, certain places are not meant for mountain bikes and certain trails should not be used for mountain bikes. And mountain bikers got really mad at me when I said that. So
Okay.
anyway, can you think of anything else that we have for hiking that I'm just not thinking of?
Gene, what about the DEP property on 198?
Yeah, I did mention that, that there's a lot of forest roads in there that people hike there all the time, but it's
Yep.
not an official hiking area.
Right.
Should I just say forest roads in Nipmuc Forest?
Yeah.
I'll just Nipmuc Forest. There's also a 1 mile loop trail, and I haven't walked it in a long time, at Sinexit Village.
Yep. I was gonna mention that too.
Don't we have a list of these on our website?
I don't know.
Oh,
Well, I sent you all a copy of this, so if anybody wants to mark it up, please send it to me because I want to present it formally at the next meeting with the POCD, which is next month.
no. What's
Uh,
the date of the next meeting? Because I didn't find out, you'd sent this last week, but my schedule didn't allow me any time to look at it yet.
I think we typically meet the first Thursday of the month, but because it's before the 4th of July, I think the town hall's going to be closed. So they haven't, I don't know if they picked a new date or not. So it's probably the second week of July.
Ugh.
I don't have anything on my calendar. So anyway, do you want to say anything about how hiking is health related, or anybody have any suggestion for an intro to that section? Public boat launches. There's the one at Roseland Park. Sinexit Village has a car top boat ramp, but you have to transport your boat in. Nipmuc State Forest boat launch at Black Pond. You can access Muddy Pond from the beach, and you can access Crystal Pond from the beach area as well. I don't know if there's any more boat launches. My recommendation was to look into the feasibility of developing a canoe kayak trail from Roseland Park to Sinexit Village. Open space car top boat launch. You know, it's going to take something, but it's going to take. I mean, it's easy enough to do. You could just do it without being official. But if we were going to do anything to make a publicity or something, and ideally, I think it'd be great to have some way to take your boat out at the Little River Plaza and go to the bakery or the pizza place or steak shop. You know, that'd be really cool if you could do that while you're canoeing and kayaking. I do want signs posted regarding boat sanitation, prevent the spread of aquatic invasive species. I've ordered 2 from DEP, one for Roseland Lake and one for Crystal Pond Park, but I haven't heard anything on when they're going to be coming in. Recreation fields, I just put them in there because I think recreation is going to cover that. We have 2 golf courses, 3 campgrounds. I mentioned that we have public swimming areas, which it's amazing to me how many people don't know this, that we have 2 public swimming areas. this is where I was running out of time and I was just putting stuff in. Do we want to say anything about public swimming areas?
Other than mention where they are? No,
No, I'm gonna undo that.
No, because technically there's no lifeguard, so people are doing it at their own risk. At
Well,
the Cove beach, you don't have a lifeguard, so
Right.
well, that doesn't mean you can't go swimming there.
yeah, all we have to do is mention their, you know, they're,
it's at your own risk.
but the sign is there.
Yes,
That
no,
no,
I know,
yeah, so we don't need anything in our plan of open
no.
conservation. I think it's good as it is there, Gene.
Okay.
Yeah,
Stocked fishing areas, that's a form of passive recreation. People love to go fishing. So this is where they stocked fish this year. So that's what I put in. And you see the signs now that if you're fishing for trout, you have to have the trout stamp. So I've noticed them at Taylor Brook and I've noticed them at Millbrook. So the signs are up about those things. There's one at Black Pond. Haven't looked at Roseland Lake. I'm sure they're posted in Still River and Buggy Brook as well. But I don't know where the access to all these places are. I mean, they put the fish in there, and when they put fish into these places, there's supposed to be public access because the river and the water and the fish are a public resource. But I'm not sure if we have developed a list of public access to some of these places that have fish in them. And then I just put down some things that maybe we want to incorporate into the POCD, like dark skies, the historic district. I don't have a map. Horse trails, mountain biking areas, birding areas, scenic views, and stone walls. Again, this was hours and hours and hours when I could squeeze it in, and you know, I know I missed stuff. So, Maura, are you happy with the dirt road section? Where is it? I think
It was right there. I think go back
Yeah.
up. Yeah. I think go back up. Above the, yeah. Oh, that's scenic.
it just says what it is. And then this was that we have maintenance challenges because of the way the roads were built when they were built. So I want the map at least upgraded, but we do need to do a study of some sort.
Well,
You worked hard on it for a while. It's one of the things that is in our, you know, our agenda most of the time, but what do you want said about it?
I mean, I probably need to think about it. I don't know off the top of my head, but I mean, could mention the other information about from Massachusetts, because I think what was decided is that they'd like to see more data about that particular sort of plan that I presented was based off of something they did in Massachusetts, and they created sort of this whole guidebook, and so they hadn't yet had anybody go through it because it's supposed to be just for public works to be able to literally go through this guidance and kind of be able to you know, do an analysis of all the existing dirt roads and do that actual figuring out what's the top priority and all of that. So I know that this year that town in Massachusetts was actually doing some of the implementation. So just,
Well,
I mean, I can try to figure
yeah,
out some wording.
if you could just, well, you worked on this so hard, you know what they said to you. What I was told in the meetings is that this is the plan of Woodstock in 10 years from now. What do we want in the next 10 years in Woodstock? And we want this inventory of dirt road best management practices 20 years ago, and we haven't done it, but I want it in the POCD. Because I think it'll be critical if we're going to get funding for it. So if you can come up with some good words for that, it would be really helpful to me.
Yep, I can certainly
And-
try to do that. I'm on vacation next week, but I'll see if when I come back, I can.
Thank you. And Grace, in terms of agriculture, I only talked about the soil because that's what we focus on. And I think that Stuart hasn't been making the meetings because they are on Thursdays and he golfs on Thursdays. But he's supposed to be submitting something. Has the Agricultural Commission submitted anything to your knowledge?
Who is this you're talking about?
The Plan of Conservation and Development.
No, the person that was supposed to be submitting something from the Wyndham Land Trust, you're saying? Because he did
No,
write a
from-
letter.
No, I'm talking about the agriculture, the POCD committee that I'm on. It's got
Yes.
representation from, supposed to have representation from all the boards and commissions that are doing work for the people in town. Planning and zoning,
Yeah, okay.
wetlands. We now have Commission on Aging, Recreation, all the land use departments, conservation, agriculture is supposed to be there, economic development. All these different people are at this meeting from all these commissions. This is not like an at-large group of people. This is the commissions putting in their piece. So I could show you what I got from wetlands that Marla Butts wrote, because that's why I didn't spend a lot of time on that. But I was just wondering if you saw anything that the Agricultural Commission put in for language in the POCD.
Not for that, for the POCD, no. Right now, they are very interested in the Wyndham Land Trust, and they're trying to get feedback from them. Because some of the properties, they were under the impression they didn't want to hay. The dairy people don't want them to hay, and Wyndham Land Trust is telling them that they can't do some of it because it's protected for the bobolinks. Okay, so this has become an extremely large issue. But Wyndham Land Trust, I guess they oversee something like 1,000 acres in Woodstock and Wyndham. And this is taking up their time at this point. Again, they're at odds with conservation being prime soil areas that are good for agriculture, and they want to know why, or they're saying they don't think it should be, that they should be in conservation easements. That's to protect the land, but it's also they can't plant anything on it. So this is where ag is right now. And it is,
I can see who's spearheading that. Because I was at that same meeting you were at when he stood up, and then Andy stood up and counterbalanced what he said.
well, and as I said, but they're all going after, it's like conservation is, or you're conserving it, but you're taking away agricultural lands. So, it's, I sit in there and it's like, hey, I'm just a representative. Don't blame me.
It is hard because there's a lot of different values to land, and
Well, that's it. When it's
if you-
top ag land and we have a conservation easement on it, And it's like, and then, as I say, of course, somebody like Wyndham, they're big. And it's like, well, are they going to take care of it? And if somebody else is going to use it for agriculture, will they allow it? And yada, yada. As I said, it's not our commission's problem right now. And I just duck my head. Trust me.
Yeah, because I know you like bobolinks.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah.
Meadowlarks.
Bobbleheads. Oh.
Yeah, that's an interesting
Well,
perspective.
yeah.
I kind of understand both sides of the story.
No, and it's, as you say, if you got prime ag soils, why are we trying to conserve it as forest or open space? Okay. So that's where the rub comes between ag and obviously conservation. But
Yeah, right. And every parcel we look at is going to have conflicts, which is the most valuable resource. And
Well-
that's why, when it comes to open space planning,
Yeah.
I've always recommended doing a rubric for
Yeah.
scoring things. And
Well, as you say, unfortunately, and a lot of it goes back to what the state mandates. Okay. Because, I mean, we can stand here and jump up and down all we want, but you have to whatever the state tells you, you have to have. We don't have enough housing in our town. Okay?
right.
And that comes over and unfortunately over and above anything else that you want. And it's not an easy road to navigate at all.
Not at all.
Hey, guys, time is, we're
Yeah.
Thank heavens.
getting
yes.
late here. So, thanks, Jean. That was incredible. And could people just email Jean with, if they see anything to correct before
Yeah.
she presents this? But,
Again, if you have recommendations that I didn't consider, I mean, I was doing this herky jerky. I don't like working that way. It's challenging with the baby in my house. So even
yeah,
when I'm
Jean,
not,
Jean, this was incredible. Thanks. Thanks for all your time there.
Yeah.
does anybody care to see what wetlands put in? I could show that quickly. It's not as many pages.
Yeah, Jean, can you just email it to everybody?
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Lee, you haven't had dinner again, huh?
I have not had dinner. And I am at my office, so I'm still 20 minutes away from
Oh,
the house.
Ah, boy.
Okay, Grace, nothing
Yeah.
new 150 acre, right?
yes. We did, and Lee and he coerced his daughter and boyfriend, and we did a little bit of work. And of course, obviously, Crystal and Nate,
Yeah.
yes, did a lot of work. I would like to try and get there again. Don't want to do it by myself. And as you said, right now I'm in Florida, so I'll send out an email and asking if we can get together at a date that's not raining or 110 degrees. But I did want to say, to make it more visible, I did submit a Walktober event on 50 Acre Wood.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Nice.
Okay, workshops. Anyone aware of anything coming up, or anyone go to anyone in the last month?
Well, again, I said it before, but the Celebrating Agriculture is at the Brooklyn Fairgrounds.
Yep.
It's on September 20th. And I did sign us up for it. And hopefully I can be there, but I would like help. And again, please put your thinking caps on and see what we're going to put on the board. We have this lovely display board. Let's use it. Okay.
Thanks, Grace.
Not as lovely as it used to be. It's kind of falling apart.
But there is a lovely tablecloth now.
For 2 tables.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Okay, open discussion. Grace, anything?
Yeah, no, I did it all, I think.
Jean, anything else?
I was just going to say to Maura, is the Natural Healthy Watershed Advisory Group one of the work groups focused on pollinator pathway initiative?
They haven't determined yet what the groups will be. We'll be doing that at the next meeting.
Okay, because pollinator pathway already exists. If you want to score points as something successful, we can I can call up those people and just say, hey, this is going on. Let's come up with something that would fit with this plan and work as a region. And I'm sure we'd come up with something.
Okay.
Okay, Jean, anything else?
The wheels on the bus go round and round
No, thank you.
all day long.
Here's to the bus driver. Jim, anything?
Nope, nothing.
Maura?
I'm good.
Hey,
Cool.
thank you, everyone. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
There a second?
Tomorrow.
I'll second it, Jim.
Hey, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Go
Thanks.
home and get some dinner.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Take care.